Let's sing some hymns tonight. Would you like to? Let's sing Jesus is Lord of All. It's been a while since we've done this one. Jesus is Lord of All. Sing it with me. Hey, you want to make a recommitment there. There's some things that you want to change. Some things that you need to settle. Jesus is Lord of all. Amen. Let's sing that together. Jesus is Savior and Lord of my life, my hope, my glory, my all. Wonderful Master in joy and in strife, on Him you too may call. Jesus is Lord of all. Jesus is Lord of all. Lord of my thoughts and my service each day. Jesus is Lord of all. Blessed Redeemer, all glorious King, worthy of reverence I pay. Tribute and praises I joyfully bring, to Him the life, the way. Jesus is Lord of all. Jesus is Lord of all. Lord of my thoughts and my service each day. Jesus is Lord of all. Amen. Will you surrender your all to Him now? Follow His will and obey. Crown Him as sovereign before His throne bow. Give Him your heart today. Jesus is Lord of all. Jesus is Lord of all. Lord of my thoughts and my service each day. Jesus is Lord of all. Amen. Let's do another song of commitment here. The hymn is called I Am Thine, O Lord. Sing it with me. I am thine, O Lord. Let's be a prayer of our hearts as we commit our way, our life to Him. I am thine, O Lord, I have heard thy voice, and it told thy love to me. But I long to rise in the arms of faith, and be closer drawn to thee. So draw me nearer, Lord, to the cross where thou hast died. Draw me nearer, nearer, blessed Lord, to thy precious bleeding side. Consecrate me now to thy service, Lord, by the power of grace divine. Let my soul look up with a steadfast hope, and my will be lost in thine. So draw me nearer, nearer, blessed Lord, to the cross single hour that before thy throne I spend. When I kneel in prayer and with thee, my God, I commune with friendless friend. So draw me nearer, nearer, blessed Lord, to thy cross where thou hast died. Draw me nearer, nearer, blessed Lord, to thy precious bleeding side. There are depths of love that I cannot know till I cross the narrow sea. There are heights of joy that I may not reach till I rest in peace with thee. So draw me nearer, nearer, blessed Lord, to thy cross where thou hast died. Draw me nearer, nearer, blessed Lord, to thy precious bleeding side. Draw me nearer, nearer, blessed Lord, to thy cross where thou hast died. Draw me nearer, nearer, blessed Lord, to thy precious bleeding side. Hello. Thank you once again for joining me. Tonight's message I've entitled, Built for Survival. There are many difficulties in life, many difficulties that we face, and some have it worse than others. Some are continually challenged. Some live in harsh conditions and severe climates. And we can think back to the days of old, days before the Industrial Revolution and the age of technology, the days before the many inventions we have today that are used to make life easier. Instead of going somewhere to fetch water, all we have to do is turn on a faucet. With the flip of a switch, electricity provides us with light. A trip, not on foot, but in a car to the store, provides us with many choices of food that is key to survival. Having the resources that we need increases our chance for survival. Man shall not live on bread alone, but man still needs bread. You know, it's heartbreaking to see so many struggle fighting just to survive. Even with the technological advances that we have, issues still remain. Homelessness, starvation, disease, poverty, slavery. The fight to survive continues. Parents often wish for a better future for their child, that their child might escape many of the hardships and challenges of life. Parents dream for a bright future and that their children will make a significant contribution to the world. And this was true for Noah. Noah's parents hoped and dreamed for a day when the fighting would end, when the struggle would cease, when the pain would stop. When Noah was born, they had faith that a change would come, and said about Noah, he will comfort us in the labor and painful toil of our hands, caused by the ground the Lord has cursed. How would this child bring comfort to his family? Would he lessen the load through his contribution? An extra set of hands to help with the workload? One thing we don't see a lot of today are large immediate families. Wilkesboro used to have a lot of those, especially where I'm at there at the church at Perlier. Used to have a lot of immediate families. I've heard about many of the congregants at Stony Hill. Many of the congregants there grew up in a large family. I've heard some of the stories of what it was like. Large families were ideal and significant in surviving and succeeding in the livelihood of a farmer. Children would take on responsibilities, contributing to the welfare of the family. Chores were given that benefited everyone. Tasks were delegated, which assisted in lightening the load. And perhaps this was the thought with the birth of Noah. Here is a son that will comfort us. He will help lighten our load. He will assist us in our task. We know the work was tough, for they referred to it as painful toil, for the ground is cursed. They were slaving away at the ground, the result of Adam's disobedience. When the Lord said to him, "Cursed is the ground because of you." And Adam and his descendants would slave away at the ground, exerting and expending their energy just to survive. Through painful toil, you will eat food from it all the days of your life. That was what the Lord said to Adam. It would be a constant fight, a constant battle, where they would encounter obstacles and disadvantages. The cursed ground, the ground that was cursed, will produce thorns and thistles for you. A constant and consistent effort would have to be given just to eat for survival. By the sweat of your brow you will eat your food. The only hope for rest would be when the body would wear out and life would depart. The only rest would be rest in the grave. Noah's family prayed and hoped that Noah could bring them some relief from their burdens, their labor, and their painful toil. The Bible refers to this days of old as the ancient world. Noah, we can reason, would have learned this family trade, working the ground, making himself useful, doing the hard work and encountering this painful toil, slaving at a cursed ground. And each day as they would go and work in the fields, it must have been a constant reminder of the consequence of disobedience. Romans chapter 8 verse 20 says that the creation was subjected to frustration, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjected it. You see, disobedience changed the environment, the world in which we work and we live, a fight for survival. The hope was that Noah would bring comfort. Noah lived in a dark time, a time of tyrannical rule, a time of great wickedness, corruption, and violence. But Noah was different. The Bible calls him a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Noah had his own family. He had sons of his own. And God spoke to Noah, and he commissioned him to a task. He commissioned Noah to build for judgment was coming upon the earth. All of his life and his family life, they worked hard just to eat. And now Noah was being commissioned by God to be a builder for survival. God informs Noah that judgment is coming because of humanity's corruption and violence. The Bible refers to the people as disobedient and ungodly people. Noah was a builder commissioned by God to the task. He was given the blueprint and told what kind of material he was to use. Noah did everything just as God commanded him. Noah had God's protection. God protected Noah, and God waited patiently in the days of Noah while the ark was being built. God is patient. He is long-suffering. And we're not told exactly how long it took Noah to build the ark, but we can deduce that it could have taken upwards to 100 years. For the Bible tells us that Noah was 500 years old when he became father to his sons. And there is also an indication that it could have been 120 years. In Genesis 6, verse 3, it says that the Lord said, "My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are corrupt. Their days will be 120 years." Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters came on the earth. Noah's not only a builder commissioned by God, but also a preacher of righteousness. God waits patiently. Noah builds and proclaims. God waits patiently. Noah builds and proclaims day in and day out for what may have been 120 years, following God's blueprint, giving him protection from the storm. Noah may have looked crazy from the outsiders. His words may have sounded like nonsense to a world steeped in disobedience and disbelief. When he spoke about an end and judgment to come upon the earth, about the Lord whose heart is deeply troubled with the increase of wickedness, corruption, violence, and the continuing thoughts of evil inside the human heart. God puts an end to corruption in his timing. In his nature, he is long-suffering and patiently waits. He waited as Noah built and proclaimed righteousness. He waited as Noah put the pieces in place, as he gathered the wood, as he made the rooms and covered it with pitch, as he made a roof and added a window and door. God waited. God waited as the animals made their way towards the ark that Noah had constructed by God's design. And after everything was set and put in place, the time was up and God's judgment commenced. The ark was built. Noah had preached. His family and the animals were brought into the ark and were safe inside of its walls. But Noah's role as a comforter, we can assume, continued. As the rain came pouring down and as the waters rose, words of comfort and trust in the Lord must have been mentioned from Noah's lips as the waters lifted the ark high above the earth. It was God's design, and Noah was the builder. Dear friends, there is a design for living, a purpose that we too are to carry out. listening in obedience to God, walking with Him, leading others to Him, completing what He has assigned to us. Yes, there will be challenges and difficulties along the way, but we can be certain of this, that God's design is right and that He is faithful. Amen. I pray that this message has been a blessing to you, and I pray that you have a blessed rest of the week. And until next time, bye-bye.